So typically when we're thinking of a hook or a subject line, we're just thinking about like the most gut punch moment in the story or the weirdest thing that happened. That's the opposite of what most people are talking about, or the opposite of what most people believe. And then by the time they read the whole email, if you do a good job explaining your point, they're like, oh, okay, see what that means. It's different than everybody else. I kind of like it. I vibe with that. It's cool. And also, you just want to make sure that each line just really grabs like the curiosity and attention of somebody and is good enough where they just want to keep reading the next line and the next line and the next line.
What is up, action takers? Welcome back to the After Hours Entrepreneur, your guide to six-figure years. And today we are joined by none other than Troy Ericson. And listen, here's the bottom line. Your email list is in trouble. It's on life support. Troy is here to bring it back to life. He's representing emailparamedic.com. He's the founder, he's the writer. And let me tell you something, this guy knows his stuff. I've read the emails. I'm part of some of the email lists, and it is really good. He's got a free giveaway for you at faqemail.com, faqemail.com, which is basically his free giveaway to help bring your most pressing email questions back to life. I don't know what else to say, but this episode is really good. Troy is going to share his story from going from sports and that being his identity into suffering an injury and having to start his own identity. And he found his love in business. He found his way into email marketing, and I don't know what else to say. This guy knows his stuff. Stick around. You're going to walk away with at least 5, 6, 7 different things that you can do to create a bigger, better, more engaged email list. This is the episode for you. If you feel like your email list is suffering, this is the episode for you. I'm just going to shoot it over to Troy Ericson because this episode is bananas. I just got done. There's so many takeaways. How to segment your list, how many emails to put in your sequences, what email campaigns to use, how to build your email list through affiliates, how to select the right titles, how to create a hook, when to sell, when not to sell. It's just, I'm still kind of reeling with all the tips. Anyway, that's enough of me. Let's get into the episode. DJ, run the tape. Troy, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, Mark? I'm excited to be here, man.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here today because I'll tell you what, I need an email paramedic. So I'm glad you're here to help me out.
I'm here to revive you, man. That's what we do. We revived that email list. That's how I came up with that.
Let's go. CPR. I don't need mouth to mouth, but I need some CPR. All right.
Yeah, we'll just do the chest pulses.
Cool. Well, I'm excited to get right into it and just really talk about how important email lists are, click-through rates, building that list, generating it out. But before we get into those nuts and bolts, Troy, I kind of want to go back in time. And I want to know, what was that aha moment for you when you realized that getting into this email paramedic business was important? What was that aha moment?
Yeah, so that actually happened a little bit after college. So to be clear, in college, all I cared about really was baseball. And that's all I ever wanted to do. I'd been playing for the past 10 years or so, like at a serious level, playing probably since the age of 6, but I was taking it very seriously for a decade. In high school, I had a Tommy John surgery, which is the worst surgery you can possibly have, especially if you're a baseball player or a pitcher. And in college, after recovering from that, I struggled from something called the yips, which is basically where you lose a simple motor skill. So imagine a baseball player who can't throw accurately. That was me. And as a senior, I got cut. And I was supposed to be a senior leader, one of the best players on the team, and here I am, apparently I can't beat out a freshman. So they gave up on me, and to an extent, I kind of gave up on me because that was my identity at the time. And fortunately for me, I had some supportive friends, and I decided, okay, I have this little interest in business. Let me just go on Upwork and try to find some clients. I bought this Facebook ads course. It was pretty good. I learned a lot, so I went out on Upwork. I started getting some clients. And I was running ads for them. It was going okay. I was making $3-4 grand a month. I was just happy I did not have to get a regular job out of college because baseball was cool, but a job was really bad. I was just happy I was in the middle. So I went ahead and started running some ads, and it was going okay. And then one of my clients one day was like, hey, we need to fire you. And I was like, hold up. I pulled open Ads Manager and I was like, we're getting leads pretty cheap. I don't know what you're talking about. Things look good on my end. What's wrong? And they didn't want to tell me, but I literally said, no, I'm not leaving until you tell me what's wrong. So they were like, all right. So you're getting decent leads, but we're just not able to monetize those leads. So we have to cut you. And I said, no. I have a little bit of experience with email marketing, and I'm going to help you monetize your leads, whether you like it or not. I'm going to do that for free until we fix it, and then we'll go back to you paying me. And they were like, all right, sure, whatever. So I log into their ESP active campaign where they send their marketing emails from, and they had a pretty bad spam issue. They weren't sending very many emails anyway, and when they did send them, they weren't very good. So I went in and I started sending more emails to a more engaged segment of their email list. And I used some things that I learned from some products I bought and from a little experience I had from another client. And I got them out of the spam folder. In the course of a few months, they went from 13K a month in their email list to 51K a month. So it was almost a 4X. And that's the point where I kind of realized, and they kind of realized, that I was good at email, and maybe I should focus on that. And I just went and I hit up my other client and got basically doing the same thing, email list management as I know it today. Back then, I didn't really know what it was. I was just doing it. And ever since then, that's what I've done. And in 2019, like I said, in the middle, we were doing 4K a month. Next year, I made $400,000 that year. Last year, my business did $2 million. And this year, we're about to do 3. So it's been a crazy journey, and there's a lot of evolutions, but that's how it all started.
That is what is up. That is so cool. So there's a lot to kind of break down here, Troy. Listen, I want to talk about money, but I want to go back to that mentality shift first, because I can empathize with that feeling of your whole identity gets wrapped up in one thing, and then life kind of like pulls your legs out from under you. Unless, that can be a killer. That's a game changer. That's a way that people lose their identities. It reminds me actually of a story from James Clear in Atomic Habits. Same deal. Baseball player, big into baseball, but he suffered an injury where a bat slipped out of someone's hands and left him with a brain injury, so he couldn't really play. But he was able to...
that's pretty traumatic right there. But sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm just kind of wondering, what was it that, was there something or someone that helped you shift course, that helped you say, hey, you know what? This doesn't need to be the end. This isn't my whole identity. I can still make something happen with my life. I can still give myself a fresh purpose. What do you attribute that to?
Yeah, I would say a few things. First of all, the whole concept of playing baseball was just hard work, don't give up, don't make excuses. And I've learned to be gracious with myself in the moment. Sometimes it's okay to be upset and be emotional for a certain amount of time. And then you just got to sweep that under the rug and you got to figure out what the next thing is. And that's what my whole life has been about. So I've learned that from my dad. I've learned that from childhood heroes. I really like Joey Votto. He was one of my favorite players growing up, even though he wasn't the pitcher. Big Tom Brady fan, completely different sport, but it's just the attitude and showing up every day and figuring out a way to get it done. So that was part of it. But more in relation to business, my very first client, Greg, when I started to have some issues with baseball before I lost it all, I was already kind of dabbling in business just a little bit. And I got my very first client, Greg. And at that time, I didn't really understand this whole marketing world and how you can work for yourself. My mind was still very much corporations, that's how business is always done. And Greg was the very first one that showed me it doesn't have to be that way. And it is just a matter of coming in touch with the right people, and you can make something happen. Because Greg grew up in Connecticut, selling bootleg T-shirts outside of Yankee Stadium. That's not corporate-y, that's not normal. That's just something that he did because he had to hustle. That was his only choice. So when I mix my mindset of corporate business and his mindset of selling shirts on the street, it met in the middle somewhere with internet marketing. And I was helping him with this project called Burger Box, which Gary Vee was a partner in, and Matt Paradis of the Denver Broncos was a sponsor. And there was this decent launch coming up. They were starting to get into funnels, and then the whole thing crashed. And same thing, is like, I thought that that client was my ticket out, and that ended up crashing. And then Greg came back and he said, hey, like this whole ClickFunnels thing that you started to get us into got us away from just sending traffic straight to Shopify. We did some, creative things. Let's start this business called Hustle Island, where we're just going to teach entrepreneurs like, hey, like sometimes you're trying to start your own business, you're hustling and it's lonely, like you're stranded on an island. So we created this program that was like a mix of e-com, and we sold like 24,000 hustle t-shirts that had the word hustle, and it was made up of like smaller words like grit, persistence, hard work. And then we used Greg's experience from like 12 years and taught a lot of like beginner entrepreneurs what Greg had learned. And obviously I learned a ton when I was doing that. So Greg became sort of like my internet marketing dad in a way. And then my friend Jason Wojo, he also joined the team at one point. And those two guys were, very much a light for me when I was in a dark place.
Troy, did you just tell me that you sold 24,000 t-shirts for the Hustle Island? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I didn't even know that was good at the time. I was just selling them. It was a free plus shipping offer. And then obviously, that was our introduction to like ClickFunnels on steroids. And we really got it working super well. And it's crazy. We built up an email list of 147,000 people. And that's what I was referencing when I was saying that, I got my first email experience. So I learned a ton with Greg. And, I actually met a guy on a plane recently, like probably earlier this year, who still had one of those shirts on, even though that was being sold like 3, 4, 5 years ago almost. So it's pretty crazy to see what can happen and just kind of see your impact out there in the world.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. So you're going through the ClickFunnels program. 24,000 t-shirts sold, 140,000 emails. Can you walk me through that funnel just a little bit? Like, what was your top of funnel? Was it a Facebook ad? I know you'd had some experience with that. Did it start with a Facebook ad? And how did that funnel look?
Yeah, totally. So the Facebook ad was actually very simple. And, Facebook was a lot easier in 2017, 2018. But, some of the same principles applied. It was just like trying to relate to people. And, I still write today, of course. So it was just a matter of relating to people and being like, hey, like new business owner, we get it. Like your family may not believe in you. Some of your friends might think you're crazy. It's kind of like you're trapped on an island all alone. That's why we're Hustle Island, and we are going to send you a free Hustle t-shirt. It has the words, grit, persistence, hard work, all within the shirt, and had an image of the shirt, of course. Just kind of explain like what we stand for and like what you're going to be rocking on your chest. It's free, just pay the shipping, so click here. And then I just went to the funnel, obviously collected their information and went to the second step. The order bump, I think it was like stickers or something. And then the upsells were just more shirts, whether it's the exact same shirt that they can get for a friend or whether it was a different shirt. We had Hustle, Legacy, Patience, and Believe. Those were the 4 shirts. And we also had a $37 a month membership where we were essentially teaching all of like the basics of online business that Greg had learned over the past decade. So that's kind of how the funnel was laid out. And then eventually we sort of turned it into an agency for ads. And that's how I got some of my early clients.
You strike me, Troy, as a natural storyteller. Does anyone have told you that before?
I mean, nowadays, yes, but when I first started out, I thought writing, ever since I was a kid, I thought writing was soft. I thought it was something that was emotional and weak, and I wanted things that were firm and factual. But the more I've looked into this, it's like stories are amazing. And I didn't even understand, but like my heroes, the reason I like them is because they had a good story, whether it was sports or business or whatever. So just being able to convey what you stand for and what you've been through, because the truth is like that's really all we have to talk about. When somebody is talking to you, you want to hear their story. You don't just want to hear a bunch of random facts or how great they are. You want to feel like you can relate to them. You want to feel like they've been in your shoes before and they made it out, and you just want to follow in their footsteps.
Yeah, it makes you relatable, right? And when I hear you talk about that funnel for the Hustle Island, you're narrating a story. You're saying nobody understands you. You're out there on your own, on your island, but that's okay. We're here. You're taking someone on the hero's journey. They're going through the hero's journey while they're going through your ad. It reminds me a lot of Donald Miller's book, Story Brand.
Yeah, it's just a matter of like making people understand that you're there and you care and you're not just there to sell them something. Like really good marketing doesn't feel like marketing. We're just here because we love what we do. Same thing for your podcast. Like there's people who listen to this and in a way it's marketing, but in another way, you're just telling stories with other people and it's really entertaining and has attracted a huge audience and it works really well. So that's the problem that a lot of, beginners have sometimes is they think that as soon as you start going into business, you have to put on the business hat and you got to separate that from the personal hat. But that's very different. And the thing that I find is the harder it is to like get your message out there or like the little that you want to share it, like the less you want to share it, the more you need to share it and the more you need to talk about it. Because the truth is, think about it this way. If you're just going to go out there and put out content that sounds like everybody else, you're not going to get noticed. But if you start talking about the things that everybody else is scared to talk about, people will watch that. I mean, think about your favorite TV shows, think about your favorite books, think about your favorite whatever kind of content you're consuming. There's thousands of pieces of content, like kinds of content. And the ones that you pay the most attention to are the ones that kind of scare you a little bit because you're like, I can't believe that person actually did that, or I can't believe they said that or thought that or they went there. So you just absolutely have to go down that route because if you don't do it, how are you going to stand out?
100%. 100%. That's one of the first things that we think about when building a business is what makes us different. And probably you are one of the best things that makes you different.
Yeah, 100%. It's like people don't realize that you as a person are literally half the reason why people would buy from your business because they like you. Know, like, trust.
So Troy, you're actually practicing what you preach because your team at Email Paramedic is managing Travis Chappell's email list over at Guestio. And I actually just had Travis Chappell on the show yesterday or last week. So you can actually listen to that episode here on the podcast. But y'all stand out. I'm a member and I'm part of a lot of different email lists, but those emails stand out. And I think a lot of it has to do with the hooks, the way that they actually read at the beginning. So could you just do me a favor and try to explain to me, what should I be putting in the titles of my emails to make people actually open them up?
Yeah, so like you said, we do that for a lot of people. Travis is one of roughly 20 clients that we write emails for. So we just send one of those out every single day. And like we were just talking about, it's not things that you're typically going to find on other lists where people are talking about, 20% off or try one of these 3 tips in your business. All we do is we just talk to the client about those stories that are really hard to tell. And then obviously we have to get information about their products and services, and we just intertwine those things. We don't sell every day. So typically when we're thinking of a hook or a subject line, we're just thinking about like the most like kind of gut punch moment in the story or the weirdest thing that happened or something that's very contrarian. That's the opposite of what most people are talking about or the opposite of what most people believe. And then by the time they read the whole email, if you do a good job explaining your point, they're like, oh, okay, I see what that means. It's different than everybody else. I kind of like it. I vibe with that. That's cool. And if you have a product that kind of goes along with the hook you presented, that's great. You can put it in that email, but you don't have to put a product in every single email. You can just wait till tomorrow or the next day. We probably pitch like 3-4 times a week for most of our clients. But yeah, it's just all about taking that piece of the story that is the most shocking and putting it at the front. So if you look at literally anywhere in media, you'll see that all over the place. You just may not have realized it. So if you look at The Dark Knight, it's like the Batman movie that has, I think, still sold more than any other movie. At the beginning of the movie, they don't start out like, oh, it was a sunny day and Batman was walking down the street and then he saw a crime. It's like all of a sudden there's a bank robbery going on with the Joker at the very beginning of the movie, and your mind is curious, what the heck is going on right now? I have no idea. And your mind is just racing with thoughts. And that's the same kind of feeling we're trying to put inside the email when you open it. So that is the number one tip to use right there. And also, you just want to make sure that each line just really grabs like the curiosity and attention of somebody and is good enough where they just want to keep reading the next line and the next line and the next line. And if you do that enough times, eventually when you send an email, people will just see the email hit their inbox and they'll open it. And it doesn't even matter what your subject line is because they just read all the time. Like how people watch their favorite player, listen to their favorite artist. They don't really care about anything else. They just like the person and they pay attention.
Yeah, it's super compelling. And I see this mistake happen all the time with email lists or social media posts. The hook is something along the lines of, I just had John Smith on my podcast, listen to it, right? That's boring. Nobody cares. But when I get a message from Travis, who your team manages, Troy, it's more along the lines of, I can't believe I joined a $100,000 mastermind group. I'm like, I can't believe it either. Let me click the button and see what this is about. You know?
Yeah, it's just different. It's just weird things. And we actually met at that mastermind. So, and I'll carry the same strategy over, to my different channels, YouTube, Instagram, whatever. And I've been getting like very contrarian pretty much everywhere. If you follow me. And you'll see what I'm talking about. It's like the hooks at the beginning, you're like, I can't believe he just said that. But by the end of the video, you kind of get what I'm talking about. And if you look at Mr. Beast, for example, on YouTube, he's the prime example of this. Pretty much every single one of his videos, you look at the title and you're like, who would do that? That is insane. I have to watch this.
Right. Like who's going to live on an island with nothing for, the last one to leave wins the island and stuff. Though that's a big, huge deal. I have another question too, because those emails that I get they're very personal. It feels like I'm getting them directly from the author. How do you, this is a really difficult thing to scale, right? I'm in production. I do podcast production. I'm sharing stories for clients. We do a lot of the copywriting and stuff. What method do you have for saying, hey, Mr. Mrs. Client, thanks for joining us. How are you extending their stories out in a compelling way? And let me just say that I have found that it's very difficult to do this because oftentimes it feels like you're about to go on a date with someone and you're sending a representative out on a date for you. It's not like this is me. How do you make it feel? How do you make it so raw? How do you get that information from the client and pump it out in such a natural way?
Yeah, we actually have a client onboarding form where it's taken us a long time to create that and get it down, but it asks the right questions to the point where they're willing to share a lot of stories that they wouldn't otherwise share. And they're, the more content they have, the better. And sometimes your clients or whoever you work with, they will tell stories somewhere on the internet, whether it's something they give you or something you find online. It's just not structured in the right way. Like you could literally take a story like you were talking about, hey, I interviewed so-and-so on my podcast, check it out. Well, maybe in line 14, they put something that was like, and when he was 22, he quit his job and went $200,000 in debt and ended up making a $14 million business. Like you should take out that and put that at the top, or you should break that into several different stories because you don't have to tell everything you know in one email. So it's just a matter of asking the right questions when you sign somebody on. And, they see how I write. So like when they book a call with us, they understand a little bit more what they're getting into. They know that it's not going to be the super careful, hey, here's 10% off. And a lot of companies do that and they make the mistake. And some people don't even put their name on it. They just have the company name. It's like, if I read that, who's talking to me? Like, I don't even know. I can't have a reading relationship if I don't know your name. So there's just a lot of different little things like that, people either just don't know or they're scared to share, but we're not scared of that at all.
Yeah. And by the way, Troy's been so generous as to give us a free cheat sheet at faqemail.com, faqemail.com to get your free email cheat sheet, Doc. So Troy, thanks for that, because this is gold. I especially like the idea of sending out emails under a personal name rather than a company name. Like the amount of times I get emails from, I don't know, Chase Bank, it's like, just stop, please stop. But if it was, the CEO of Chase, I'd be much more willing to, I can't remember what his name is offhand, but if I get an email from the person, it feels personal.
Yeah, 100%. And the best thing you can do to marry those things is if I was scared and I was using email paramedic this whole time, I would just make my from name Troy at email paramedic. So you have both. Now, I get why like Chase Bank doesn't do it because they're, up in Wall Street and there's people with suits and there's a giant totem pole of people they have to go through to make one little change. And maybe they'll sell the company and they don't want the owner's name on there. But, for 95% of the people listening, like you have to put your name on there. If you're getting close to exiting one day and you're slowly removing yourself from the business, it's like pros and cons, right? Like the buyer might want your name off of it, but it's also going to hurt sales. So it's this weird conundrum that is really hard to figure out. But when you're growing, absolutely put your name on it, tell stories, get people to know you. And even if you do sell a business, then you still have your name that you can still go and, people are brands these days, personal branding. So just remember that.
Good point. I want to kind of go in reverse. I'm going kind of Tim Ferriss, jumping around a little bit here, because I can already hear the questions coming in. Mark, this sounds great. Troy makes a lot of sense. I'll write beautiful, gorgeous, amazing J.R.R. Tolkien style emails. But right now I don't have any emails I don't have anyone on my email list. It's my mom, my dog, and myself is on my email list. So if I'm starting from scratch, what's a good tactic? What's a good way for me to start building my email list?
Yeah, so there's actually a couple of routes with that. So for me, obviously, we have coaching, of course, but we also have an agency that does this for people. So if you're kind of new and starting out and this sounds interesting, you can just do this for other people. You don't need your own email list. I didn't have my own email list until after I had clients for several months and maybe even close to a year. My email list was more so like social media at that time, specifically Facebook groups, where I just, told a bunch of stories. It's the same thing, just a different medium. And, just intertwine personal stories, business stories, things we're up to, what we're working on, what's going really well right now, things I see in the industry that could be better, things we do differently that are contrarian. And we just talk about that, I would just talk about that because I was a one-man show at the time. So that is 100% a route that you can go. Or if you have your own business and you don't want to do services like this for other people, when I started my list, I think I pestered some friends on Facebook. There were 34 people on my list when I sent out my first email. 7 of them were me. There's probably a dozen of them that were like my mom or dad or friends. And then there were probably 10 or 15 people that were strangers. And were probably just being nice when I asked them if they wanted to be on the list. So at that point, I just had an audience to write to. And I was like, all right, I have my audience. It's not big. I know one day it will be. So I'm just going to write and take this seriously and share tidbits from my email list on Facebook, and then just put the link in the comments if they want to be on the list and get exclusive content like this all the time. But really, it's just about putting good content out there wherever you are, and then giving people an opportunity to get more. So for example, like FAQemail.com, a lot of the things we're talking about right now, like if you're on the list, I will talk about those later, and I will talk about them every day. So that's just kind of one example of how a podcast is a platform, and then an email list is like a more intimate platform when you want to get to know somebody better.
Makes sense. So, but the one of the things that you had mentioned earlier is when you were creating that email list for Hustle Island, you got 140,000 emails like that. My ears kind of spiked up when you said that. I'm assuming, though, that in order to do something like that, you need to have some sort of scalable product on the back end to sell, right? Because that's built off the back of ad traffic, right?
Yeah, that was built off of, 95% of that was probably ad traffic. If you're starting out and you're new and ads are costing a lot of money and you're not totally sure yet, there's a couple of things you can do. Obviously, organic is great, like podcasts are organic, like we just mentioned. But another thing that you could probably get less than $5 leads by doing and get them very quickly is you just do what's called an affiliate promotion. So for example, my friend Justin Goff, he is also in the copywriting field, copywriting industry. And he kind of has a very similar audience to me. So he was like, hey, you want to do this JV together where I send an email. So Justin sends an email about Troy, and then Troy pays for how many ever people come on the list. So you pay a fixed dollar amount for every person that joins. So Justin just took the FAQemail.com link. He sent it out to his list. He told them like, hey, this is a FAQ email cheat sheet. It's going to show you exactly how to make more money from email marketing and answer all your questions. So we had, gosh, I think like 2,000 people opt into that over the course of a week. So that was huge. It grew my list a lot. And Justin's happy because I paid him a good amount of money. And I paid a premium because he's got a really good list. But, you know, somebody who's starting out, you can definitely pay less than $5. I mean, you might as well start at $3. And if they say no, then just go up a little. And if they say no still and it's over your budget, then you don't have to do it. It's just whatever's comfortable for you. And you want to make sure you have a good offer. Now, you can do that with a free opt-in like I did, or you can do it with a paid product. It's totally up to you. I prefer paid products. I'm actually working on something that's lower ticket right now because I don't really have any low ticket products at the moment, but I will in the near future, and I'm going to use the heck out of this strategy, and I would highly recommend it if you're trying to not get burned and like constantly try to make ads that work. If you're struggling with that, go this route. And then whenever you have the offer down for ads, then obviously I love advertising, but it's not the easiest thing in the world.
Okay, so I actually haven't heard this strategy before, so this is really good. Normally it's, you know, create a lead magnet, send traffic, profit, right? But so what you're saying here is that you have some sort of small, you know, some sort of offer, something that's maybe not super expensive, like $5 guide, $10 guide, something like that. Then you go to other influencers and you say, hey, send traffic to my email list and I'll give you a kickback for every one that comes through.
Yep, you can give them a kickback for every lead, or you can give them a kickback for every sale. Just kind of depends what you're pushing. But yeah, just think of it. It's very similar to advertising, except instead of paying Facebook for traffic, you're paying somebody else for traffic from their email list or their following, wherever their following hangs out.
Makes sense. What's your favorite software for managing these
I like
emails?
ActiveCampaign. That's my favorite that I personally use. If you're like a coach, consultant, or you sell information, it's probably the best. If you sell a physical product, Klaviyo is probably the best. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter too much. It's all personal preference. I mean, changing ESPs, so like changing softwares is kind of like changing gyms and expecting better results. Like you're not going to get stronger from going to a different gym. You're not going to be better at emailing from going to a different platform. It's just all preference.
Gotcha. I'm just going to keep diving down this super technical stuff that I get asked about and stuff that I'm curious about. When's the best time of day to send out emails?
Yeah, that's another one that doesn't matter quite as much. I mean, as long as you're not emailing them while they're asleep, or maybe if you know your list has a day job, like don't email them while they're at work, like maybe after work or at lunch break, something like that. Just thinking about when they're available and sending it at that time. Now, I prefer earlier in the day because obviously the closer you send it to when they're sleeping, maybe they're going to miss it, who knows, but it's more about sending the right message, and then people will buy. And you know, if you're sending every single day, people aren't going to open every single email, but they should open from you a couple times a week at minimum, and they'll be very in touch with what you're up to.
How do we avoid going to the spam folder?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that can cause that for sure. The number one is just lack of engagement. So if you keep sending emails and they're getting less than like 10% open rates, eventually what you're doing is you're training, you know, Gmail and Yahoo and Hotmail, et cetera, that people don't want to read your emails. So then they start putting you in spam. So you just want to make sure that like when you start out from your welcome email and like all your other emails beyond, that you're just getting good open rates. And you can do that through A, writing good emails like we've talked about, and B, just understanding that quality is more important than quantity. And if somebody hasn't opened an email in more than 3 months, you probably shouldn't email them. And you should segment your list. That just basically means if you're a 90-day segment, you're emailing people who have opened in the last 90 days or less. And if it's more than that, just stick them off to the side. You can try to email them on occasion, but don't do it like you do with your main list, because then you'll run into issues. Now, there are other problems that can come up too. You could be having technical issues, and you know this is pretty advanced, but like DKIM, SPF, DMARC, if you have issues with those things, you can go to spam. Or if you're in the promotions tab in Gmail, that's really bad. That's almost as bad as going to spam. And a lot of people will miss your emails if you go there. So those are some of the more common reasons. But the number one is probably engagement. Number two is going to the promotions tab. And then the rest of the stuff is a little less common. But if you do have that issue, it's a pretty big issue.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. I mean, I was spending all this time to write out these beautiful emails, and then Gmail is sending it to go die in a graveyard somewhere. I don't want that. We want it to be read. So this is great. The segmenting your list is great too. So if I'm hearing you correctly, it sounds like you're going into your email list probably semi-regularly and saying, these people aren't engaging. I'm going to move them. I'm going to tag them. I'm going to segment them in a different way inside your email campaign manager, right?
Yeah, it actually happens automatically if you have the automation set up. So basically, it'll keep a running number. The ESP will. So the machines algorithms, they're always working. So if somebody hits 90 days, it'll just automatically take them and put them off into a different list or a different segment. So you don't have to worry about doing it manually all the time. Now, if you're starting out and you're new and you kind of want to practice making it and you want to do it manually just to get the hang of it, that's fine. But yeah, I just try to make it as automated as I can, but not until I understand it. And that's very true for a lot of things in business. Make sure you understand it yourself. And then once you understand it, automate it or delegate it.
That it makes sense. You know what, Troy, Mr. Troy Ericson on the mic here. Thanks for being so technical with us. This is really, really good stuff. This is really valuable stuff. Stuff that's actionable stuff. That's what I like. So again, we're talking to Troy Ericson. You can get your own email cheat sheet at faqemail.com. I have another question here for you, Troy, while we're just banging out all these awesome questions and answers. How many email lead magnet pages do you have out there right now?
Right now, pretty much just FAQ email. Okay. On occasion, I'll have other ones, but that one has been converting at 90% when I do JVs with other people, like we just talked about. But yeah, just that one at the moment. Like I said, I'm working on some low ticket stuff right now. So people actually have to swipe their card and join. It makes them put skin in the game, take it more seriously. And then everybody gets better results. So I'm excited to put those out in the near future. But, I had another one that was 101 ways to make money through email marketing. And it's out there, but I don't really publish that one too often because FAQ, it just does better. So I just stick with what's working right now. Then eventually enough people will see that and be used to it and it'll be saturated and then I'll just come up with another one. So I kind of view it, I view products kind of like putting out albums. So I'm a musician and I want to put out an album one day, but for now, making info products or services and just things that make people's lives better. That's my way of putting out an album and I get really excited about it.
Love that. And you put a lot of work into this too, I'm sure. What about your sequences, right? So, I mean, we could probably record for 5 hours on sequences, but I've just kind of a more general question. When someone signs up for an email or says, hey, I'd like to get emails from this client, generally speaking, how many automated sequences does that trigger? So is it going to be 3 emails? Is it 10 emails? Is it 52 emails? How do you set that up?
Yeah, so the truth is that grows over time. Usually you're going to start with about 3 to 5. So the first one is just a welcome email and you're just giving them what they signed up for. If they bought something, if they opted in for free, just give them that thing because that's what they want. You can also tell your story a little bit in that and talk about, what's different. So for us, we're different because most people are just hiring copywriters. Copywriters, they write in a Google Doc and they pass it to the client. And the client doesn't know all this stuff about email, so they're kind of screwed. But with us, we write the copy and we send it for you and we optimize literally every single thing we've talked about today. So that's something that I would say differentiates us. Second email, I'll usually ask them to reply because that's good for deliverability. It's good for learning about the audience that's opting into your list. I'll say, hey, first name, what's your number one question about email marketing? Reply and let me know. That's all I'll say. And then people will reply. And that FAQ email document that we made, that's literally just from all the questions we get. So I can guarantee that your questions are answered in there because those are the exact questions that people ask me over and over and over. And everybody thinks their question is unique and different, but realistically you can group everybody's questions into probably 10 questions. So they're all in there. And it's like you can just kind of see as you listen to this, like how it all fits together. But the third email, what I'll do is I'll usually go really deep into my story just so they know who I am and what I do. Email 4, just kind of talk a little bit, plant the seed about products and services. And then maybe email 5, if there's anything else that's really crucial that they need to know, anything related to their opt-in or their product they bought, whatever it is. But don't make it too long. One time I had a client that was like, hey, can you look at our welcome sequence? And it was 62 emails long. It was very apparent to me that they just wrote all these and threw them in there and hoped for the best. And what I've realized is a lot of people do that, but you don't want to do that. Start at 5, and that's it for the sequence. Every email you send, like when we talk about daily emails, those are like email blasts or email broadcasts, whatever you want to call them. And we send those out. And we just see how they do. And then maybe, 1 email per week out of the 7 that we send is like a big winner. Well, then we take that email that's a big winner and then we add it to the end of the sequence. So then we guarantee when somebody comes on the list, they're getting our very best emails. So like right when you get on my list, you get my very best emails right away because they've been proven and tested. And that's something that I'm always working on. So whenever they're done with the sequence, they start getting the daily emails, which is kind of like a playground for me. I'm testing to see what works. And then all the stuff that works just gets added to the end. And then I know I'm fully optimized.
That is genius. That's genius. And I love the idea about taking, a very simple, quick email. What's your biggest question? And then creating a lead magnet based off those questions. I mean, I get the same questions all the time. Why don't you just make a lead magnet?
Totally.
You're a pretty smart dude, Troy. I feel like you're figuring some stuff out here. Let's go. Listen, y'all, if you're loving what Troy's saying, you got to go over to faqemail.com along with me so I can actually see if he's practicing what he preaches, because I think he is.
I promise I am. Don't worry.
The challenge accepted. Troy, I want to get into the rapid fire section here before I let you go. Real quick, where's the best place for us to connect with you online?
Email at that link. But anyway, as far as social media, I'm mostly active on Facebook, but I'm probably active on any socials that you guys are on.
Cool. Troy Ericson, the man, Troy Ericson. Cool. Troy. All right. Rapid fire section. You ready?
Yep.
What is the scariest movie you have ever seen?
I don't like The Conjuring because I love horror movies, but when they start getting demons involved, I'm out.
Good answer. Good answer. What kind of animal would you like to be?
A lemur. They're just fun.
They are fun. I like lemurs. That's a good one. What's the best email list that we're not on? Other than yours, of course.
Stefan Georgi. He's one of my mentors. He's really good.
Brilliant. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live?
I like Florida a lot, but gosh, that's a hard one. Hawaii is really cool. San Diego's nice.
Hey, listen, I'm down here in sunny South Florida. You can visit anytime, baby. Let's go.
I'm in St. Pete.
Are you? Nice. Nice. St. Pete, how did the hurricane impact y'all? Y'all are okay from?
Oh, we got lucky. We had to evacuate and everything. And I have an office in the back, and it was like 12 hours. We had to get out of here. And it was extremely stressful, but it missed us and hit Fort Myers an hour or 2 south. And, we've helped them out quite a bit financially here from email paramedics. So it's the first time there's ever been like a bad disaster that's really close to home. So it just really resonated with me.
Yeah, no kidding. No, I've been down in South Florida a long time, and that was a nasty, nasty storm. You mentioned that you helped the Fort Myers with email paramedic. How did you do that? How did you help?
Yeah, so actually a couple different things. So the first one was I just gave away one of my products for everybody who donated to the Florida Disaster Fund. I'd have to ask my assistant on the exact number that we raised there, but I think it was around like $3-4 grand. And then, I personally donated some as well. And then my girlfriend's grandparents, they live on Pine Island, and they couldn't leave because her grandfather was 94, he's bedridden, cancer, like not a good story. And they lost a decent amount, so I just recently had like a big giveaway again with more of my products, and we personally contributed, and my email list raised over $9,000 for them, so I was pretty happy about that. So it's just really cool what you're able to do, and help people. And it's, we've helped people that are like related, and we've helped people that are not related. And it's just cool when you can contribute to somebody in need. It just feels really good.
Yeah, man. The more you give, the more you receive. The more you give, the more you receive, babe. We need more of that. Troy, where are you going to be in 10 years?
Wow, that's a good one. I mean, we're working on a lot of cool stuff right now. I don't think you mean physically. I think you mean business-wise. So we're building copywriting.org right now. We bought that one. We're going to be interviewing copywriters and featuring them and giving them a platform to be seen. Right now, outside of our done-for-you services, we have an email list management certification program that teaches you how to do what we do. We're going to be starting the mastermind. I mentioned we have some low-ticket things. So I think in the next 10 years, we're just going to be like the next Joel Marion. In the next, like, when you think of email, you think of us. And whether you're a freelancer who wants to do the work or whether you're somebody who needs the work done, you're going to think of us.
I like that. I like that. I especially like the lower ticket offers. I found it's a really good way to get people into your ecosystem. Like you said, get the swipe, build some trust. And that leads a bit, once you solve the small problem, they're going to come back for the big problem or refer people for the big problem. I like that model a lot.
Yeah, it's worked well in the past on a couple different things. And then we had like Facebook compliance issues, and it was a mess, but we're finally getting back to it. And it's a completely different world now than it was 5 years ago when it comes to advertising.
No doubt. No doubt. Final question here for you, Troy. If you had 10 seconds with yourself 10 years ago, what would you say?
You are you. You are not your success. You are not what you do. Love yourself, love other people, don't give up, and like just keep something going at all times. Just always have the ball rolling, be in motion, and good things will happen.
Boom. Words of wisdom. Troy, thanks for joining the After Hours Entrepreneur, brother.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mark. I appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun.
Boom. Thanks for listening to the episode today. Troy brought the heat. Now it's up for you to take action. Go out and execute on your own email list. Your email list can be a huge asset. But if you're making some of these easy, common mistakes, just like me, you can make a difference. You can make a change. And Troy Ericson just brought you a ton of different ideas. So go out and take the action, make it happen. And I will catch you here next time on After Hours Entrepreneur, your guide to your first six-figure year. Go make it happen, baby. Let's go.